Tonight on your News at 9, one person is injured after a truck crashes into a utility pole on Missouri 171 near Carl Junction. Plus,
a dream of a lifetime comes true for billionaire Richard Branson. I'm Jeff Paul at Spaceport America in New Mexico. I'll have the details coming up.
Meteorologist Nick Kelly has your weather. Sports director Jacob Leonard is here with sports. I'm Mike Mahoney, and this is your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, thanks so much for tuning in. 4 people are taken to Mercy Hospital following a crash in Carthage. The accident occurred Friday night around 8:30 on Fur Road in Carthage. According to the Missouri State Highway Patrol, a car driven by 20-year-old Caden Garvin of Carthage crossed the center line on Fur Road and hit a car driven by 24-year-old Dion Ward, also of Carthage. Ward's car flipped over a concrete barrier and landed below on Interstate 49. Both drivers and 2 passengers from Ward's car were taken to Mercy Hospital in Joplin for their injuries. One person is injured after a truck crashes into a utility pole on Missouri 171 near Carl Junction. The Missouri Highway Patrol says a truck driven by 22-year-old Caden Presley of Joplin was heading southbound on 171 and went around the curve near Ivy Road when the driver lost control, left the road, and struck the utility pole. The driver was transported to Freeman Hospital for his injuries. The population of those vaccinated for COVID-19 may be higher than is reported in official Kansas and Missouri state numbers. KOAM's Zach Dodge spoke with officials about the impact last week, and he has more.
As Southeast Kansas faces the threat of the highly contagious Delta variant, Cherokee County works to get more shots into arms.
Especially because we know that it's not just isolated to our county or a couple of counties, it's a regional thing, and in our area, the hospitals are regional as well.
Hospitals like Ascension Via Christi are seeing more in younger patients because of COVID, with all health officials pushing to get the vaccine hesitant to get the shot.
I urge you to reconsider and become vaccinated.
But when it comes to getting vaccines, it's a regional thing as well. Let's take me, for example. I live in Jasper County, Missouri, but work in Kansas and was vaccinated here in Cherokee County. So I show up in Cherokee County's numbers and not in Jasper County's. And it works the same way if you flip the states.
Vaccinations that are administered out of state do not get reported back to the Kansas Department of Health and Environment.
Both the Kansas Department of Health and the Missouri Department of Health state that on their websites. So what's the impact? KDHE currently shows that 309 out of every 100 people in Cherokee County have had at least one dose. That's 5,288 out of the county's 20,000 population. But
when you look at the vaccination rate, it's low compared to what the actual number really is.
It does affect the numbers, but I don't think it affects them that negatively at this time anyway.
And officials say that's the main impact the discrepancy has, is in the numbers, because when it comes to their daily work, they have ways around it.
We can call that health department and be able to share that information so that the patient or client can get that in. Because that's usually what the issue is they need the information.
Right.
Because they may be planning something and need to prove that they were vaccinated.
In Southeast Kansas, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
All right, let's talk weather with meteorologist Nick Kelly. Nick, kind of like a weird day today. I experienced some heavy rain driving from Neosho to Joplin, but then for the most part I saw a lot of dry weather, so kind of all over the place, I guess.
Yeah, we had some scattered storms out there, Mike, and that certainly had an impact on temperatures along with mostly cloudy skies up top. 78, that was the best we could do for highs today after we started at 64 degrees. But the half inch we saw from rain today alone in Joplin pushed us over 30 inches for the year so far. The Skywatch Storm Tracker, thankfully our rain chances have pretty much calmed down. A few straggling little showers still trying to remain. But I think by 10 or 11 o'clock, we're done with this system at least giving us rain chances for tonight. On the other hand, though, it might try to bring another random shower to our way tomorrow, but we're dry in the morning, lows dropping back to 64, and the mostly cloudy skies turn partly sunny with, again, maybe a random shower or storm, but not bad for tomorrow with highs topping out near 80 degrees. Unfortunately, numbers like these won't stick around for long. We'll see how warm we'll go for the week ahead here in a bit, Mike.
All right, sounds good, Nick. We will check back in just a little bit. Tyson Foods has expanded a nationwide recall on some chicken products over possible bacterial contamination. The company recalled more than 450,000 pounds of chicken over concerns that some ready-to-eat products could have listeria contamination. The products were produced at their Missouri plant from December 26, 2020 to April 13, 2021. Institutions like nursing homes, hospitals, schools, and defense locations are affected, as well as stores like Walmart, Wegmans, and H-E-B. The total recall now sits at about 9 million pounds of Tyson products. For the full list, see the USDA's Food Safety and Inspection Service website. Today was a dream come true for billionaire Richard Branson. The 71-year-old owner of Virgin Galactic Aircraft blasted off to space on his very own rocket ship. Fox News' Jeff Paul has more from Spaceport America in New Mexico.
Really? Billionaire Richard Branson celebrating what he calls a dream of a lifetime after he successfully made it to space on his own Virgin Galactic aircraft.
I have dreamt of this moment since I was a kid, and honestly, nothing could prepare you for the view of Earth from space.
Branson, along with 3 Virgin employees and 2 pilots, launched into space on Sunday aboard VSS Unity. The crew blasted off from Spaceport America in the town of Truth or Consequences, New Mexico. They were on board a sort of passenger rocket plane. The twin fuselage carrier jet carried Unity to 50,000 feet. It was then released and blasted off through the Earth's atmosphere. They experienced some weightlessness and then headed back to Earth. In all, the flight lasted about 90 minutes from start to finish. The 70-year-old business mogul says he could see more clearly from space.
We're here to make space more accessible to all, and we want to turn the next generation of dreamers into the astronauts of today and tomorrow.
A group of students had a front row ground seat to watch the first fully crewed test flight to space.
And I'm happy that we're able to go into space now and discover new things about the galaxy.
Branson's blast comes 9 days ahead of another billionaire's trip to space. Jeff Bezos is set to head to space from West Texas. While Branson's flight is set to be longer, Bezos' Blue Origin will climb higher to 62 miles at altitude. Either way, both will be making huge steps for commercial spaceflight. With the successful launch, Virgin Galactic is the first privately owned rocket company to launch its owner into space. At Spaceport America in New Mexico, Jeff Paul, Fox News.
It's now time to pay tribute to one of our many four-state heroes. Tonight, we recognize Philip Wirtz of Oswego, Kansas. Wirtz served as a sergeant in the U.S. Army and he fought in Iraq. Thank you, sir, for your service and for fighting for freedom. For more information on all our four-state heroes or to nominate your own, just log on to KOAMNewsNow.com. We'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather. Plus,
another weekend of triple-digit temperatures out west. I'm Alex Hogan. More on that coming up.
As advertised, it was certainly quite cooler compared to the past few days, but at the expense of partly to mostly cloudy skies throughout the day. And quite a bit of scattered showers, maybe a random storm, but at least we didn't have to deal with any severe weather throughout the course of the day. The time lapse, though, catching a few of those showers working over Indigo Sky Casino and Resort outside of Seneca, Missouri. And of course, that was not the only spot that picked up on the scattered rainfall, especially as we got into the late morning and throughout much of the afternoon. Looking at just today alone, doesn't look like much, 0.3 of an inch, but some of these showers packed a punch with moderate to heavy rainfall at times. You can see how right along the I-44 corridor around the Joplin area, random amounts almost wanted to push an inch, maybe 2 inches in a few local isolated spots. However, if you were not a fan of the rain chances today, they're finally winding down as we venture deeper into the Sunday night. Just a few weak little showers left, and we're talking about a couple on the radar network. So overall, we're going to be staying dry and quiet for the rest of the night ahead of us. Compared to yesterday, though, quite a bit cooler. 84 in Joplin yesterday at the airport, but mid-60s this morning, mid to upper 70s. For highs during the middle of July. Those are pretty hard to come by. We're going to save for another nice day tomorrow with temperatures almost like that. before we see some summer heat try to return later on. 70 in Joplin and north breeze at 8, but the dew point not too terrible, sitting in the mid-60s right now. Most spots are in the lower 70s in southwest Missouri, some lower to middle 70s, a little more prevalent across our corners of Kansas and Oklahoma. But even though we'll have partly to mostly cloudy skies throughout the night, this light north breeze at 5 to 10 miles per hour will push us back into the mid-60s for most of you as we head toward your Monday morning as we get back to work. The Skywatch storm tracker from a water view shows at least we weren't the only ones dealing with scattered rain, maybe a couple storms. You can see how the backside of our last storm system that gave some of you severe weather the other day, the backside of that flow around the low, that's what kept the cloud cover and some rain chances around. But high pressure will keep us dry for a few days before we see our next frontal system and our next upper level wave come our way. Not until the middle of the week though. Before that happens, though, we'll enjoy cooler temperatures with this dip in the jet before it starts to lift back to the north. And as a result, we'll see some of that summer heat build back in. In the short term, though, again, we're dry for the overnight. Can't rule out maybe a quick shower east of Stockton Lake, but the vast majority of us are dry, but mostly cloudy and mild, with lows in the mid-60s to start the morning out. Then we'll turn partly sunny as we go into the afternoon, but maybe a weak wave rotating around could try to bring a random shower or storm during the afternoon. But I think those chances are certainly a little bit slimmer compared to today. We will see highs topping out around 80 with a light north breeze at 5 to 10. Fast forward to Tuesday morning, mostly clear. I don't see any big problems at all, but notice how we quickly jump back into the upper 80s come Tuesday afternoon. Future track's running a little warmer than I'm thinking, so let me show you where I think we're going for the rest of the week on a 7-day forecast. We will top out around 87 on Tuesday, 91. That's when the summer heat builds back in on Wednesday. But come Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend, that's when our next storm system rolls in, and we'll have to watch for increasing rain chances again by then, Mike.
All right, things look pretty good out here. And Nick, here is a story that I bet you've been keeping an eye on. Oppressively hot weather returned this weekend to the western U.S., with temperatures registering over 100 degrees in multiple states. Fox News' Alex Hogan has more on the brutal heat wave.
Another scorcher on the West Coast this weekend as residents deal with another round of triple-digit temperatures.
It getting warm is normal, but not up like triple digit to 110, you know, that's not normal.
That excessive heat is not just dangerous, it can be deadly. A heat wave 2 weeks ago in Washington and Oregon killed almost 200 people in that part of the country. Owning an air conditioner is not a given, as the weather is usually much more temperate. Cities have opened dozens of cooling centers for people to get relief, and people are doing whatever they can to make it through.
As much agua as we can have and just stay hydrated, we'll be fine.
We're gonna go to the pool, I think, after this. Yeah, it's quite hot.
It's so hot.
A children's museum tomorrow, some air-conditioned fun.
Heat warnings are in effect in multiple states. The temperature in Death Valley Saturday nearly 130 degrees, threatening to break the record for the hottest temperature ever recorded on Earth. Forecasters say last month was the hottest June in 127 years of record keeping.
An event of this extremity would have been virtually impossible in the past. But we are going to be seeing more intense and more frequent heat waves in the future as global warming continues.
Here in the Northeast, we are expecting a quieter few days after Elsa hammered millions with rain, wind, and thunderstorms. But the heat and humidity are expected to return early next week. In New York, Alex Hogan, Fox News.
Firefighters are struggling to contain this massive wildfire spreading across Northern California. Several large fires have already engulfed the mountain areas, prompting authorities to issue evacuation orders for thousands of residents, along with the closure of the Plumas National Forest. Other fires are burning in Oregon, Arizona, and Idaho. As of now, there have been no immediate reports of deaths or injuries. The bootleg fire is threatening roughly 3,000 homes as it continues sweeping through southern Oregon. The fire is more than 61 square miles and as of Saturday night was at 0% containment. High temperatures and winds are pushing the fire towards what's known as Path 66, a corridor where 3 power lines connect with the California and Oregon power grids. An emergency management center has been activated to monitor the situation. When we return, you'll learn about some gun arrests near this year's Major League Baseball All-Star Game. The arrest happened in a Denver hotel Friday night, and you'll also hear what the FBI has to say about the bust. That story and more are next. Border Patrol agents are working around the clock along the U.S. southern border as the migrant surge continues. Fox News' Jonathan Siri is in La Joya, Texas with details.
Standing near the U.S. southern border in La Joya, Texas, you can see an incomplete section of the U.S. border wall. It began construction during the Trump administration, only to cease when President Biden took office. Now, with these large gaps in the wall, it's very easy for anyone to walk around, including undocumented migrants. That appears to be what happened early Sunday morning. A group of young men with apparently no intention to voluntarily give up to authorities were spotted. We have some aerial video shot from our drone where you see Border Patrol agents following a very obvious fresh foot track that these migrants left in a wide open field, but the migrants reached a nearby highway where they disappeared into the community. Texas authorities are not just concerned about foot chases. Here's what Governor Greg Abbott learned from his Saturday meeting with sheriffs of counties along the border.
When you have speeding cars trying to escape law enforcement in your local community, you never know when those speeding cars are going to be running into somebody, killing somebody who is a Texas resident.
On Saturday, troopers with the Texas Department of Public Safety engaged in a high-speed car chase with a suspected smuggler who crashed into one vehicle before losing control of his own car and striking a pole. Authorities say the driver was carrying 7 undocumented migrants in his relatively small car. The driver was arrested. His passengers were turned over to the Border Patrol. And this is just an example of what unfolds along the U.S. southern border on an almost daily basis. In La Joya, Texas, Jonathan Siri, Fox News.
At least 3 people were arrested on gun charges near the location of Major League Baseball's All-Star Game. It happened Friday night at the Maven Hotel in downtown Denver. 3 men were arrested in connection with an investigation into illegal gun possession. 2 of the men and a woman were also arrested on drug possession charges. The FBI says there's no reason to believe the incident is connected to terrorism or posed a threat to the All-Star Game. When we return, it was a historic weekend for the city of Charlottesville, Virginia. That's because the city was able to peacefully remove multiple statues that were deemed offensive for various reasons. We're taking a closer look in just 2 quick minutes.
Nominate your force.
Welcome back to your News at 9. Authorities in Virginia took down multiple Confederate statues this weekend. Statues of Robert E. Lee, Stonewall Jackson, and one of Meriwether Lewis, William Clark, and Sacagawea were removed from their places of prominence in Charlottesville. Officials also announced a 4th statue will come down today. Fox News' Lucas Tomlinson takes a look.
The statue of General Robert E. Lee was put up here in Charlottesville in 1924. Saturday morning, it was brought down peacefully. The mayor says it will heal, not divide.
Taking down the statue is one small step closer to the goal of helping Charlottesville, Virginia, and America grapple with its sin of being willing to destroy black people for economic gains.
The city of Charlottesville voted to remove the statues after Virginia's Supreme Court weighed in, allowing the removals to proceed. A few hours after the Lee statue was removed, another statue of a Confederate general was loaded onto a truck and hauled off as well, Stonewall Jackson. A local pastor spoke to Fox News and described the feeling of seeing the statues removed.
My hair is gray enough for you to know we've been through some struggles in this country. My prayer was that my grandchildren and great-grandchildren would not have to do the same thing all over again.
The decision to remove the statues announced just 1 day in advance to avoid any violence. Saturday afternoon, the Charlottesville City Council, in a special session, voted to remove a 3rd statue that depicts the explorers Lewis and Clark and Sacagawea. Late Saturday, officials at the University of Virginia announced a 4th statue would be coming down in Charlottesville, this one depicting George Rogers Clark, the conqueror of the Northwest who fought the British during the American Revolution. In Charlottesville, Virginia, Lucas Tomlinson, Fox News.
TikTok announces new steps to remove content which violates its community guidelines. The company says it will now use new automated systems to remove some videos instead of solely relying on human moderators. Systems will take down videos containing things like nudity, sexual activities, as well as graphic and illegal content. TikTok says it has a lot of confidence in the tech to remove the correct videos. The move also allows moderators to focus more on regulating things like speech, bullying, and misinformation. Hate speech, I should say, forgive me. These systems will roll out in the U.S. and Canada over the next several weeks. We'll be right back with more news.
Your chance to
Pope Francis made his first public appearance since having surgery last week. The 84-year-old Pope walked out onto a hospital balcony in Rome today. Crowds were roaring with applause and cheering as the pontiff greeted well-wishers and thanked them for their continued support. The surgery on July 4th was to remove a part of his colon, which needed to be narrowed due to inflammation. The Pope was accompanied by a few children who were also in the hospital for treatment. Don't go anywhere. We've got a lot more news headed your way, as well as another look at your weather with meteorologist Nick Kelly and your KOAM Sports Report with Jacob Leonard. That's all coming up right here in your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And when we return, we are headed to Denver, where a baseball card was receiving a police escort. And you'll learn what exactly was going on right after the break.
How?
Oil demand is a major factor behind the current pain at the pump for many Americans. Fox Business Network's Jeff Flock is outside Chicago with a look at the numbers.
As perhaps you see behind me, the nation's oil refineries are cranking once again as demand spikes up. This is the Citgo refinery outside Chicago. That demand combined with the high price of crude oil right now, once again in the $70+ range, means gas prices on the rise, continuing to do so. The average gallon of regular right now, $3.14, up only a penny in the last week, but it's been increasing slowly. $3.07 a month ago, $2.19 a year ago, up almost $1 in the last year. Typically, when we get oil prices in the $70+ range, you see a lot more exploration, a lot more oil drilling. Not so much in the U.S. right now. Take a look at the U.S. rig count. 376 rigs, oil rigs now working in the U.S. Sounds like a lot, and it is a lot more than it was during the pandemic this time last year, but nowhere near pre-pandemic when we were at almost 700 working rigs. That has some people who follow the oil market and gas prices concerned that perhaps we're focused in the wrong area right now.
One of my biggest concerns for the global economy going forward is that we're trying to transition off fossil fuels too quickly without having an alternative in place. And I think because of that, that's going to leave us undersupplied in the next couple of years.
And speaking of the focus on green energy, British Petroleum does something that they call a statistical review of world energy, where they determine worldwide where our energy comes from. They find that in 2020, a huge run-up in the use of renewables. The capacity for solar up 22%, for wind up 18%, which sounds like a lot, but when you look at the big picture, that is worldwide, where does our energy come from? It's still the majority fossil fuels. Take a look. Oil, 31% of our energy from oil. Coal, 27% of our energy from coal. Natural gas, 26%. Hydroelectric power and nuclear, just 10%, and renewables like solar and wind, still just 6%. It has some concern that perhaps we're a little too far out over our skis here in terms of the pursuit of renewables here in the U.S., while the rest of the world still burning dirty fossil fuels. Outside the Citgo refinery in suburban Chicago, I'm Jeff Flock with the Fox Business Network.
Legendary center fielder Mickey Mantle's baseball card went front and center at a museum in Denver. An ultra-rare 1952 baseball card of the Commerce Comet rolled into Denver this weekend. The car received a police escort to its temporary home at the Raleigh Hotel ahead of the MLB All-Star Game. The card is a PSA certified gem mint condition and recently was sold for a record-shattering $5.2 million in January. All right, we'll be right back with meteorologist Nick Kelly and another look at your weather.
Nothing.
We certainly had to dodge quite a bit of shower activity throughout the course of the day, but despite that, temperatures didn't feel that bad. It only made it into the middle to upper 70s for highs across the area. That is a rare feat to come by on a normal basis during the middle of July, and we better enjoy the below average temperatures for, I think, another day before we see the thermometer start to kick back up. Throughout the day, though, we did see a couple showers worked over our time lapse of Bendigo Sky Casino Resort outside of Seneca, Missouri. Otherwise, that site had to deal with mainly partly to mostly cloudy skies throughout the course of the day. And after we had a pretty potent storm try to head toward Joplin late last night, early this morning, we were quiet during the overnight to start Sunday morning out, this Sunday morning out, quite frankly. Then we had a good scattering of showers, maybe a couple random rumbles of thunder, but this was generally rain that we picked up on today. Far better than dealing with the chance for strong to severe weather throughout the course of the day yesterday. 0.3 of an inch of rain on average just from today's rain chances alone, but some of these showers packed a punch with some moderate to heavy downpours of rain that resulted around the Joplin area, especially seeing rain amounts go from 1/2 inch to almost 2.5 inches of rainfall. That's just according to radar estimates. If you are not a fan of these rain chances that we had throughout a good portion of the afternoon, this is looking a lot better on the radar network. I'm just seeing a few showers north and west of Yates Center, a quick little shower working through Neosho, and one little shower also working over Grand Lake. That's about it. We are drying out as we go through the course of the night. And we're looking good after we had quite a few downpours work over Joplin throughout the day. 70 in the city, north wind at 8, dew point not bad, sitting in the mid 60s. We are all in the upper 60s to lower 70s right now. Even though we have partly to mostly cloudy skies staying in place for tonight, look at this north breeze, another rarity to see during the middle of July. Even though it's light at 5 to 10 miles per hour, this will help temperatures drop into the 60s, lower to middle 60s by the time we hit sunrise in the morning. At least we weren't alone dealing with these rain chances. They were more scattered about across the St. Louis area into Illinois and parts of the Tennessee Valley. That system's slowly moving on while we wait for our next front to try and make a play in our forecast later on in the week. That being said, we got to wait for this upper low to bring that front our way. But we are going to enjoy this upper low, keeping the jet stream to the south and west for tomorrow. That keeps temperatures below normal as we get back to work this week. So the overnight, partly to mostly cloudy, sure, but we keep things dry, especially as we begin the morning commute. Overnight lows dropping back into the mid 60s for many of you. Then as we head toward tomorrow afternoon, we're going to see skies start to trend toward partly sunny, but a weak wave wants to try and bring a random shower or storm to a few spots in the afternoon. I still think most of us will be dry. 64 in the morning, 74 by noon, highs topping out right around 80 degrees. I want to show you the rest of the week quickly before we hand things back over to Mike. Quiet on Tuesday, but we'll be warming back up and we'll be back in the lower 90s on Wednesday. But this wave and that next front, that starts to bring rain chances back in. Better rain chances by Thursday and Friday, and that's going to linger into the upcoming weekend as well, with maybe a few isolated storms Saturday and Sunday. As far as temperatures go, 80 tomorrow, 87 on Tuesday, then staying in the upper 80s to lower 90s for the rest of the stretch, Mike.
All right, looks good to me. I'm off Monday, Tuesday, so Peanut and Chico are going to get some dog walks. Hey, stay tuned, sports fans. We'll be right back with Sports Director Jacob Leonard and your KOAM News at 9 Sports Report. The Joplin Outlaws return home, and they are aiming for their first win since the All-Star break. Plus, history at the 2021 Wimbledon Finals. Jacob is back with that story and more right after the break.
Well, the Joplin Outlaws have dropped back-to-back games since the All-Star break. Right now, the Outlaws are 11-13, but they're still tied for first place in the Mink League South Division. Tonight, Joplin is back home against Jeff City, looking to rebound and pick up their first win of the second half. Jeff City gets their first 2 runners on, but Cale McAllister for Joplin, it's a Webb City product. Current Missouri Southern line gets out of it with 2 strikeouts, and this fly out to right. McAllister goes 5 innings, giving up just 2 runs. The Outlaws get the first run of the game in the bottom of the second. Jeb Jenkins finds grass out in center. That scores Jared Toller. Right now, they're still going. Joplin leads 6-3 in the bottom of the 8th. Tonight is championship night at the Missouri Little League District 2 tournament in Webb City. Webb City is the #1 seed in the bracket and is looking to return to state tonight, facing the Joplin American All-Stars. Joplin trying for a little revenge after falling to Webb City in the semifinals on Saturday. Webb City wastes no time. Talon Haslip The leadoff man, deep to left, solo homer. Home team on the board first. And moments later, Mason Young shoots one back up the middle. Brady Holland comes in to score. Webb City jumping on Joplin early. Still in the first, Connor Hood back to center. 2 more score. Webb City gets 10 in the first inning. And now they're going to state. Webb City wins the district championship over Joplin 10-0. In the major leagues, the Royals and Cardinals both scheduled to play today, but both of them got rained out. Kansas City's final game of the first half against Cleveland postponed, moved to September 20th as part of a doubleheader. As for the Cardinals, they were scheduled to play their final game before the All-Star break against the Cubs today. That one also postponed and also rescheduled as part of a doubleheader, this one on September 24th. Well, Saturday night was the third installment of the Conor McGregor-Dustin Poirier rivalry at UFC 264. And Poirier won the fight with a TKO after a doctor stoppage after the first round. And McGregor suffered a lower leg injury in the final seconds of the first round last night. Later, that injury was confirmed to be a broken tibia. Now, Poirier has won 2 of 3 against McGregor and has earned a shot at Charles Oliveira for the UFC lightweight title. And here's a bit of what he had to say after last night's win.
You never want to get a win that way, but what happened was a result of checking a kick. You know, I'm more than sure of it. He got what he had coming to him, man. Karma's a mirror. I doubled down on myself after beating him in January when they offered me a title shot. You know, I doubled down on myself and it paid off. You'll see him on the ground still saying some real bad stuff. But even that stuff being said, I don't wish, serious harm like that on nobody. The guy's got kids. I want him to go home safe to his family.
UFC President Dana White says after Poirier gets his shot at the lightweight title and McGregor recovers from his injury, the plan is for the two men to return to the cage and fight for the 4th time. Tonight, it's Game 3 of the NBA Finals. That's a big one. The Phoenix Suns try to take a 3-0 series lead while the Bucks aim to win at home and get back in the series. Now tonight's game just went final. Bucks win it big, 120-100. Giannis gets 41 points and 13 rebounds. Well, Novak Djokovic has a chance to make history today at the Wimbledon Finals. Djokovic faces Matteo Berrettini in the championship today, aiming for his 20th Grand Slam title. Now getting to 20 would tie him with Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal for most Grand Slams in a career. Berrettini, pretty good early, catches Djokovic going the other way. Berrettini gets the first set 7-6, but then Djokovic gets going, takes the second set, then in the third, gets the ace. Djokovic takes the third set as well. He's starting to feel it. Check it out. Championship point here, Berrettini in the net. That's going to do it. Novak Djokovic wins at Wimbledon, his 6th Wimbledon title and 20th career Grand Slam title. Now that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Welcome back to your News at 9. An 89-year-old widow was married to one of our nation's heroes, but she is still waiting for the government benefits she needs to get by. And as Fox News' Anita Vogel reports, she is not alone.
I don't know why they are so hard to get it. It's been 1 year after another.
89-year-old Susanna Mallinson is waiting on military service records proving her beloved late husband Frank served in the U.S. Army during World War II. They met and fell in love over ham radio after the war. Now she needs the documents to apply for desperately needed spousal benefits from the VA as she lives below the poverty line on just under $1,000 a month. But that application process could take another 2 years.
It's very stressful that at times I cannot sleep thinking, why is it so hard? Something that belongs to me.
I wish we could try to do something to expedite it. They are entitled to these benefits. They've worked for these benefits.
But Mallinson has been waiting already over a year now. Her request on a backlog with 500,000 others at the National Personnel Record Center in St. Louis. They've been working with a slimmed-down staff during the COVID-19 pandemic. The director says he knows they are failing when it comes to serving veterans. The National Personnel Record Center is part of the National National Archives, but critics wonder how the National Archives had time to conduct a full-blown internal study on racism earlier this year. But on the eve of her 90th birthday, Susanna takes comfort in the memories she shared with her husband Frank and honors his request before he died to wear his dog tags around her neck so he could be with her in spirit.
He will think that I'm very courageous and hopefully I can get it through my persistence.
Susanna Mallinson's attorneys are pressing the archives to expedite the process. In the meantime, the NPRC insists the VA should be able to help supply the records. But Mallinson's attorneys point out that's only if the records are digitized, and Frank Mallinson's are in paper form. In Washington, Anita Vogel, Fox News.
A survivor of the Auschwitz death camp who used music to fight anti-Semitism in post-war Germany has died. Esther Bajarno passed away peacefully Saturday morning at the Jewish hospital in Hamburg. Bajarno was born in 1924 and was sent alone to the camp in 1943. She volunteered as a member of the girls' orchestra and would play music as new people arrived at the camp. After the war, she emigrated to Israel and got married. Bajarno would become politically active, co-founding the Auschwitz Committee in 1986, which gave survivors a place to share their stories. Bajarno also worked with musicians and her own children, playing and creating Yiddish melodies and Jewish resistance songs. No cause of death has been given. She was 96 years old. All right, we are not done yet here on your KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. And we have got some fun stories to wrap the show on, including one about these two baby beavers who were found in a bad spot but are now doing well at a wildlife center in Virginia. That is coming up in just 2 short minutes. Welcome back to the show. It is a French fry lover's dream come true. McDonald's is offering a chance to win free fries for life. This upcoming Tuesday is National French Fry Day, and McDonald's rewards customers could get really lucky. According to the fast food giant, 66 customers will get 1 million points on their rewards app, and one of that group, one lucky winner, will take home the ultimate prize, free French fries for life. The 66 number of fans corresponds with the amount of years McDonald's has been in business. McDonald's says the value of the prize of fries is almost $20,000. Maybe more if you have to get a heart attack. All right, 2 baby beavers are now being cared for at the Southwest Virginia Wildlife Center in Roanoke, Virginia. Officials say the 9-week-old beavers were found alone and were brought into the center last month. They also say it appears that one of the beavers was attacked and the other beaver's habitat may have been destroyed.
These guys are very social, so it's really hard to raise them alone, which for the 2 that we have right now, that's the best case scenario, to have 2 at the same time, because they're generally always with a sibling or a parent. They're not usually alone.
Officials at the center say they do not believe the baby beavers are from the same litter. All right, well, thanks so much for wrapping up your weekend with us. We will see you next week for more KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. Have a great night, and of course, stay safe out there.